Daniel's prayer in the lion's den, a powerful prayer of faith in the darkest hour. The heavy stone rolled across the opening with a thunderous echo. Darkness enveloped the den. The smell of earth and wild beasts filled the air. Daniel stood alone, surrounded by lions whose eyes gleamed in the shadows like burning coals. Above him, he could hear the muffled sounds of the world he had just left, the voices of his enemies, celebrating what they believed was his final defeat, the reluctant footsteps of King Darius, forced by his own decree to seal the fate of his most trusted advisor. But Daniel's heart was not filled with fear. Instead, it overflowed with something far more powerful: faith. As the lions circled him, their massive paws silent on the cold stone floor, Daniel slowly lowered himself to his knees, the same position he had taken 3 times every day for decades, the same posture that had brought him to this very moment. His accusers had watched him through his window, praying toward Jerusalem, and they had used his faithfulness as a weapon against him. But they did not understand that faith cannot be legislated away, that devotion to God transcends even the threat of death. Daniel lifted his hands, palms open to heaven, though he could not see the sky through the sealed entrance above, and he began to pray. "My God, my Lord, my defender," Daniel's voice echoed softly in the den. "You who have been faithful to me through every season of my life, I come before you now in this hour of darkness, just as I have come before you in times of light and victory." One of the lions approached, its hot breath warming Daniel's face, but the great beast merely sniffed the air and settled down beside him, as if an invisible hand had tamed its wildness. "I remember when I was just a boy, torn from my homeland, brought to Babylon as a captive. You were with me then, when they tried to change my name, my diet, my very identity. You preserved who I was. You gave me wisdom beyond my years and favor in the eyes of those who held power over me. I remember standing before King Nebuchadnezzar when all the wise men of Babylon faced execution because none could recall and interpret his dream. You revealed the mystery to me in a night vision. You showed me empires rising and falling, kingdoms of gold and silver and bronze and iron. You demonstrated that you alone hold the destiny of nations in your hand." Daniel's eyes filled with tears as memories flooded his mind. Decades of faithfulness, decades of answered prayers, decades of God's unwavering presence. "I remember my friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, thrown into the furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual. They refused to bow to the golden image, just as I have refused to stop praying to you. And you walked with them in the flames. The fire did not consume them. Not even the smell of smoke clung to their clothes. You proved that day that you are the God who saves. Lord, I have seen you humble the proud and lift up the humble. I watched as Nebuchadnezzar, in his arrogance, was driven from his throne to live like a wild animal until he acknowledged that you, the Most High God, rule over the kingdoms of men. 7 years he spent in madness, and then you restored his sanity and his kingdom when he finally looked up to heaven and praised your name." Another lion approached, this one the largest of the pride. Its mane was magnificent, its muscles rippling beneath its tawny coat. It could have ended Daniel's life with a single swipe of its massive paw, but instead it lay down at Daniel's feet, as peaceful as a house cat. "Tonight I witnessed the writing on the wall in Belshazzar's palace. Your hand appeared, and fingers wrote words that terrified the king. I interpreted your message of judgment, and before the night was over, the kingdom fell to the Medes and Persians, exactly as you foretold. You are the God who keeps your word. Your prophecies always come to pass. Your justice is perfect. And now I serve King Darius, a good man, an honorable king who has been trapped by his own law. I do not blame him for sealing me in this den. I know his heart is troubled. I know he would save me if he could. But your ways are higher than human laws. Your purposes transcend earthly kingdoms." Daniel paused, listening to the sound of his own breathing in the darkness. The lions had all settled around him now, a circle of predators rendered harmless by the presence of God. Father, I am not afraid. How can I fear when I have walked with you for so many years? You have been my shield in the palace intrigues. You have been my wisdom when earthly wisdom failed. You have been my strength when I was weak, my hope when situations seemed hopeless. My enemies thought they were clever. They crafted a law they knew I could not obey. For 30 days, they said, no one may pray to any god or man except King Darius. They knew I would never stop praying to you. They watched my window like vultures waiting to catch me in the act of worship. And I gave them what they were looking for, not out of pride or defiance, but because you are worthy of my devotion, regardless of the cost. I kept my windows open toward Jerusalem, toward the city of David, toward the place where your temple once stood. Even though the temple lies in ruins, even though your people are scattered, I pray toward the place you chose to put your name, because you are a God who remembers your covenants. You do not forget your promises. Tears streamed down Daniel's weathered face. He was an old man now, having served in the courts of Babylon and Persia for over 70 years. He had outlived empires. He had seen the fulfillment of prophecies he himself had spoken. Lord, I pray not just for myself tonight, but for your people, for the children of Israel, still in exile, still waiting for the restoration. The night would pass, morning would come, the stone would be rolled away, and the king would find his faithful servant alive and well, without a scratch, without a wound, a living testimony to the power of prayer and the faithfulness of God. But for now, in this sacred moment, Daniel simply rested in the presence of the Lord, his prayer complete, his faith vindicated, his God glorified. And in that den of lions, heaven and earth met in a powerful demonstration that no earthly power, no human law, no threat of death can separate God's people from his love and protection. This is the faith that overcomes the world. This is the prayer that moves mountains. This is the God we serve.